Okay, so section 3.5, slope-intercept form. Again, we know that slope-intercept form is in the form of y equal to mx plus b. So let's take a look at some examples and see if they are in this form or not. Okay, so what about example y equal to 4x minus 3? What is the slope? What is the y-intercept? In this case, this is straightforward. The m is the 4, so you could say 4 over 1 or 4. And then the y-intercept is going to be 0, comma, negative 3. What about y equal to 12? Well, y equal to 12 really is the same thing as y equal to 0 times x plus 12, where 0 is the m, the slope, and so 0 times x is 0, so it's not necessary to have it there. So this tells me that slope is 0 and the y-intercept is 0, 12. Okay, let's look at another one. What about y equal to negative x minus 5/8? So minus 5/8. Okay, so again, the slope is right in front of the x, so there's a negative 1 there. So negative 1 or negative 1 over 1 you could write. The b is going to be 0, comma, negative 5/8. Right? And then let's do one more. We'll say y equal to negative 2/3 x. Well, again, the slope is what's right next to the x in front of it, so that's the negative 2/3. The b is not there, so it must be plus 0, so that means it's the origin, 0, 0. So there it tells us how we can interpret some of these equations in the terms of slope-intercept form. Now, if we're going to use a graph to write the slope-intercept form, we should have some basic concepts about it. So let's take a look at a graph. Okay, so let's say we have a graph, and we have a y-intercept at negative 2. Okay, and then there's another point at 1, comma 2. So 1, 2, comma 1. So here is my line. So 2, comma 1. Okay. Well, that should be negative 1, sorry. So let's fix that. That should be negative 1. Okay. So typically you're going to be given a line and you have to find points on the line, and so I found a point on the line 2, comma, negative 1. And so now I could come up with the slope-intercept form. So I know a point here and I know a point here. So I have 2 points. I have 0, negative 2, and then I also have 2, comma, negative 1. So I do know the y-intercept is negative 2. I could actually look at it and figure out the slope is right here, so it's going up 1 and to the right 2. So it should be y equal to 1/2 x and then minus 2, which is the y-intercept, because I know the y. But let's say I didn't know that. I could calculate the slope, couldn't I? I could take the negative 1 minus the negative 2 over the 2 minus the 0. And so this is plus, so negative 1 plus 2 is 1/2. And so there's the slope that matches what I saw in the graph. And then the y-intercept is this. So again, we can calculate the slope-intercept form just by looking at the graph and actually testing it with our slope-intercept or our slope equation. So now let's take a look at another equation or another graph. And let's say that it's going to go through the origin this time. So let's say it's like this. And let's say that it's going through the point at least of 2, comma, negative 3. So 2, 2, 3. So it's something right here. So this is 2 comma negative 3. Looking at the graph. And I know that this is my y-intercept, which is at 0. So I know the y-intercept is at 0, 0. So y-intercept is at 0, 0, and I can count it if I want. It's going down 1, 2, 3 over 1, 2. So it's negative 3, 2. So negative 3 halves is my slope. But if I want to test it, I can go slope is, because I know this point, and I know this other point is 2 comma negative 3. So negative 3 minus 0 and 2 minus 0. It gives me the negative 3 halves. Oops, the negative 3 halves. So I should know my formula, slope-intercept form, which is y equal to negative 3 halves x. And then the y-intercept is at 0, so I don't need to write that. But I could say it's plus 0. But this is not really necessary. So we could just say negative 3 halves x would be all that you have to say. Okay? And so you should be also able to sketch your equation so that sketch your information so that you can solve these as well. So if you're given a slope of m equal to negative 1/2 and you're given the y-intercept, you should be able to just take this and be able to write your slope-intercept form. So the negative 1/2 goes here, and then your 1's going to go here. So right away you have your equation. But if you don't see it, you could actually graph it. You could graph your equation so that you can prove that works. So here is my slope, my y-intercept is here. I'm going to go down negative 1 and to the right 2. So go down 1 to the right 2. And so there's my next point. And then I can check it by saying, okay, it does go down negative 1 and goes to the right 2, which fits the slope. Or I could say that it goes to the right 2 and then down negative 1. So either direction works for the same purpose. And so you have to be able to do that, be able to sketch a line, be able to create the slope-intercept equation from the given information.